Well, hello and welcome to unit number 3 for the Interpretive Master Planning course. Uh, this is kind of one of the beginnings of the beginnings. You know, we've had you look at the models of interpretation and planning and interpretive plan outline. We had you do a listing of all the objectives that you wanted the plan to accomplish and develop a storyline flowchart. Now, this next step in the process is where we do our inventory of all the interpretive sites and features and experiences that we want the plan to cover. And I've sent you a copy of the Providence Metro Park Interpretive Plan. And this is a really good example of both the inventory, in this case is a historic site with some natural features, and the map that we developed using Google Earth. But you can use a site map. You can use your own site map if you have one for like a zoo or a park or a nature center. But it shows how we did the inventory. Now, what we inventoried were everything from orientation. Those are O's. Orientation sites are places where we want to have a kiosk or an orientation panel to tell people about who we are, what we do, rules, regulations, things like that. And of course, in the interpretive plan I've sent you, you'll see pages that have that. We also inventory biological sites like ponds and creeks, geological sites. It might be erosion areas or stone, bedrock outcrops. Historic sites, including historic buildings, foundations, cemeteries, all kinds of features, and there's a list. And then we code them. So O1s are orientation sites, and B1, B2, B3, B4, be careful, are biological sites. H1, H2, H3 are historic sites. If you're a zoo, you might have D1, D2, D3. These would be displays. Botanical gardens might be G1s or BG1, Botanical Garden 1, 2, 3, 4, to identify flower beds. Whatever coding system you can use is up to you, or you don't have to use any at all. It's an option. I like giving them like an O or a B or an H. So in this part of the plan is where you do an inventory of every place that you want to do interpretation, and they include things too that I call experience inventories. An experience inventory might be a vista or a viewpoint. It might be where there's a wonderful waterfall, and part of the experience is feeling the spray from the waterfall on your skin. It might be a place where you do programs or demonstrations. It might be a petting zoo where you have a visitor contact. So that might also be an experience area. So you might think about the kind of experiences you want people to have and inventory where they're located. Now, you don't have to just inventory things you have. You can also inventory things that you want. So if you want a new animal display in a certain area, you can do a P. P is proposed. Proposed display 1, proposed display 2, or proposed garden 1, proposed garden 2. The main thing is that everything that you've inventoried and you have listed on your orientation site map in Unit 4, we'll have you start developing your interpretive planning forms for each one of those, where you start to look at what you want to do with each one. Before that, we're going to give you some instruction in things like panels and trails and exhibits, because the interpretive plan is where you plan for stuff that you want to do, like cell phone interpretation, interpretive panel, and exhibit. And so I want to give you some instruction in those things, so that as you're developing your interpretive planning forms, you have some overviews on what's involved in the panels and the exhibits and audio devices, things like that. So in the interpretive plan that I've sent you, you'll see the whole interpretive plan. But before I get you writing the interpretive planning forms, I want to give you some idea about some of the different types of media that you might want to use. But you can go ahead and scan through the whole plan, of course, so you see what your final product might look like. Again, if you have any questions at all, you can Skype me, you can email me, you can give me a phone call, and we can talk about it. This phase should be fairly easy, where you just begin to inventory either what you have for interpretive services that you want to interpret, or what you want for interpretive services that you want to interpret. So that's it for Unit 3. If you have any questions, let me know. And when I get your material back from this one, you're going to send me your inventory list of every place you want interpretation, and you'll send me your site map that shows just where all these places are, because these are an important part of your interpretive plan. And by the way, they're important because if you ever write a grant to implement interpretation, the inventory list and where they're located and how visitors will use these sites are a key part of grant writing. So that's about it. If you have any questions, let me know, and good luck with this unit. Thanks.